Everyone could have a seat. It's 6 o'clock. It's time for our city council meeting. If I could please have Pastor Robbie Tingle please come up. He is with the Living Hope Church, and he's also a Sherwood Police chaplain.
Allow me the privilege to pray with you. Lord Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the privilege you give us to live here in Sherwood. Lord, we ask your blessings upon this meeting tonight. Lord, we ask for your wisdom. We ask for your insight. We ask for your guidance. Father, we thank you for our mayor, our council members. Lord, we thank you for our directors, our employees, firefighters, as well as police officers, Lord, and others that serve our city, Lord, and we are grateful for them as well as their families. And so, Lord, once again, give insight, give wisdom and directions as decisions are made for the betterment of our city and our citizens this evening. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Aye.
Harmon.
Here.
Lilly.
Here.
Sanders.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Broderick. Thomas.
Present.
Wade.
Here.
We have before you the minutes from the regular meeting on March 25th, 2024, as transcribed. Any changes, amendments? There being none.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
We have Councilmember Lilly has made the motion, and it's been seconded by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call, please.
Broderick. Harmon.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
You have the March 2024 financials. Any questions? Okay, there being none, I asked before we get started if we could suspend the agenda to add the ordinance. It should be before you. It should be starred and has B, and it would go as item number 10. It's an ordinance amending and adjusting the fee for residential garbage and recycling, declaring an emergency and for other purposes, and an explanation for this from our city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Okay, so please put that down as item number 10. We'll move on to committees and commissions. Advertising and Promotion Commission, Councilmember Brooks.
We did meet, and we're just kind of getting started in the year, going over all our, from Trail of Lights and going over the things that are going on this year, our events. I think we had our first event, big event. We've had the Easter egg hunt, but our big event was this past week, the concert in the park. I don't know if anyone wants to report on that, but we're having another one this month, and just kind of rocking and rolling along with that.
Might want to mention that Advertising and Promotion also agreed
Well, I
to
was gonna
fund our
let you,
first.
I was gonna let you do that. on
Okay,
your-
our first accessible, fully accessible park that the city of Sherwood will have located here on the City Hall. What do you call this? The City Hall Park or?
Yeah.
City Hall Park. That'll be accessible by all able children, whether they're in a wheelchair, whether they're on crutches, or whether they're fully healthy. They'll all enjoy this park, and it'll be located here by the Thornhill Pool. And A&P appropriated the funds to fully fund that park that should be open hopefully by the end of October. So,
I do have a question, if permissible. I had a phone call from someone when I was talking about that particular piece, as well as, I told them about the Easter egg hunt that we had to visit with Santa. We had for 2 different ones, one for the Century children as well. And they asked me, describe how I would know which one. And I mean, I couldn't answer that question. So I think the public's asked, I mean, I know what it means, but I didn't know what would be different for the Easter egg hunt. I said, I assume the children just run like crazy. Anyway, I didn't know how that would be conducted
Sure.
differently. So I think that'd be something to educate our community on.
okay. I'm not prepared to educate the community on it right now, but
Sure,
yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to, just,
And with the concert, it was, you know, you didn't know what was going to happen to the weather, and it couldn't have been nicer. It was so much fun. It was we were very happy with the turnout. We know that they're just going to continue to grow. Several of the food trucks sold out. The food was incredible. So anyway, please mark your calendars and come to the next one. And we just were notified that Heather will be back on the Vine with Cliff and Susan advertising this like she was able to do the other one. So we are getting a lot of publicity about this, which is a great thing for A&P. So moving on, we've got Parks and Recreation Committee. Councilmember Harmon.
We did meet. The minutes are in your packet. If anybody's got any questions regarding anything that we discussed. Otherwise, we did discuss 2 items that need funding. One of them didn't make it this time, and that's the roof on the Greens at North Hills and the roof on the cart barn. The bid that was opened and approved, they came back and added some funds to it, so it has to be rebid, and now they're going to bid the roof on the clubhouse itself at the same time, so that'll probably be ready next month, maybe, ready next month. So what we've got in front of you is a resolution, if we could read that, please.
Yes, sir. We have a resolution appropriating funds for repair expenses at the Greens of North Hills. And I know that that's not a real big description, so
I've got it. I've got the description.
perfect if you'd like to
Yeah.
kind of get into what all that is and why.
This is a list of items that were associated with the execution of the Joey's lease. And I've got, if anybody wants to see the specific items, I've got them here.
Thank you.
That were actually done for that $20,000. There's only 2 items left. No, I can't get this. I've got a constant shake of the hands. It makes it hard. Pass
So
that
they've
down
already
if you
been
look.
done.
All but
Most of it
2.
has.
We've got the fence, and what else? What was the other thing?
The ceiling.
Air conditioning box. We've got the 2 small items. One is to replace that fencing, that wooden fencing, and a small air conditioner box that's outside by the air conditioners, right?
It's in the hallway going towards the ladies' bathroom.
Oh, okay, I don't know that air conditioner box. I don't remember that one. But anyway, those 2 items are all that's left. Everything else on this list is done. These weren't budgeted, and it ate up most of our, almost all of our greens repair budget, maintenance and repair budget, and we need to replenish that. And that's what this resolution is for, because those were unexpected items, unplanned for items,
Which need to be done, though.
which needed to be done, yes. And they're done, and so that's what the resolution is for, so.
So the repair budget was 20,000, this cost 20,000?
It was it 20,000, Blake? It's usually around 20 to 25,000, something like that.
To date, we still have 2 things left to do that we believe we purchased everything on. It was $19,959.53, so.
How much
right-
do we budget for repairs over there annually?
For this time, with upstairs, downstairs, and all the stuff on the grounds, it was 65,000.
Oh, we probably did
And we're
65,000.
9,000 away from there right now with some stuff we've already been able to knock out, so it's,
Okay.
it's a need for this, we'll be way over, so.
Thank you.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
So move.
We have a motion by Councilmember Williams and a second by Councilmember Thomas.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders. Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Next up, Planning Commission, we have an ordinance amending the existing zoning code in respect to Chapter 14.11, point signs, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. And Shelby's already up here. Go right ahead, Shelby, floor is
Okay.
yours.
Good evening, Shelby Smith, City Planner. So before you this evening is the final version, which Planning Commission recommended approval of the sign ordinance. In your packet, you should have received the version that is highlighted and redlined, and everything reflects in the clean version. You should also receive the comprehensive overview of the changes to the sign ordinance, because a red line version of the original sign ordinance that we operate under now with the changes is just not feasible. So with that, I can open it for any questions and we can discuss.
Shelby and I talked today, and I think one of the most important thing I shared with Shelby is on the on the two-page document that talks about the changes that you got in your email. Under 1411.04, that section 2B addresses what we tried to address 2 months ago, the fact that, and it's hard to find it in the thing. It actually addresses the piece that the sale signs are admissible for commercial properties or for non-residential properties during the hours of operation. And it's hidden in there, and they were not allowed at all except on the interstate before, but that was one of the things we were
In
looking for to
C4,
get.
yes.
Yes.
And they were only,
And also within a distance,
Within a
too.
distance.
Yes.
But this is one of the pieces that we were trying to get for A&P purposes. And, we were having this debate, or people were talking about, well, food trucks, are we gonna let food trucks have them and not brick and mortar? And this allows any business to do it during the hours of operation, so it's not discriminatory against one or the other. But it's really obvious there, and it's obvious on that table. That's not really highlighted, but it's obvious there. So that's the part that we were wanting to get in there.
Yes,
That
all the
revision.
changes, it's just a comprehensive overview, a lot of fundamental changes that have gone into this. Anything, it's been thoroughly reviewed, but now it's all put into a table format and it's simplistic to read and apply.
I think as many times as I read this, I'm gonna find something. Every time I read it, I'm gonna find something different. But I just have a question. I don't think this requires a change, just clarification. We require that we prohibit signs attached to roofs. Just a blank prohibition for signs attached to roofs. All canopy signs are attached to roofs. They attach to the fascia, and then they have brackets. And the primary brackets that hold a canopy sign up in front on a building are attached to the roof of the building. And I assume that that's not ever going to be a problem, that we're just going to say, well, we messed up there and we shouldn't have said all signs attached to roofs except for canopies or something.
I
But
didn't read it that way.
it's- Do what?
I didn't read it that way, I didn't think. I thought it meant.
Signs painted and/or attached to fences,
Okay.
railings, roofs, fire escapes, trees, utility poles, street lights, benches, or other government or official signs. Those are prohibited. A sign attached to a roof is prohibited.
There's a nuance there. A roof sign is one that projects above the parapet.
Well, you've got a separate section for roof signs. Roof signs, yes, are prohibited.
Prohibited.
But
And then
you've
you've
got a
got
second
awning
one.
signs
That's
and
number
canopy
eight. That's number 8. Number 4 prohibits any sign attached to a roof. That's not a roof sign. It says any sign attached to a
Okay,
roof. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying now.
And so a canopy is attached to a roof. Canopy signs are attached to roofs.
There's an additional provision for awning signs under canopy signs and
Canopy signs, and those,
Yeah.
okay, so we know those are allowed, even though that's, that section, okay.
Perfect.
That was, and like I said, this, every time I read it, I'm gonna find something like that, so, and that's just the lawyer in me, so, okay.
What about businesses that are open 24/7, like gas stations and storage places? They can leave their signs out indefinite? I mean, they can leave their sale sign out.
So in reference to storage facilities, I believe it would be interpreted the business hours in which the office is open. And a business open 24 hours, that would be their hours of operation.
Okay, what about gas stations that are open 24/7? They can leave theirs out?
Like the same. If they're open 24/7, that would be their hours of operation. We could set parameters on,
Right. And what is so what is the rubric that's going to be used when a sale sign needs to be replaced or removed because it looks,
Tattered.
so,
it looks faded or it looks,
a lot of the intention behind removing them at the end of the operation hours, that would also retain the integrity of the existing sale sign or feather flag. I don't know that that would be something that the city in this ordinance would have the ability to enforce the condition of it.
so that was a big thing. I mean, that was what we talked about extensively before. That was why we got rid of them in the first place, because they look tattered and worn, and then it makes the city look kind of junky. And if we don't have anything in, and they're expensive. I mean, I know it's a cost for the businesses, but, that was kind of why we got rid of them in the first place.
I think, though, we're talking about significantly fewer sale signs. They're not going to be lined up 3, 4, 5 in front of a building, and they're not going to be at the street anymore. And a lot of businesses are not going to invest in them if they can only have the limited number.
So there is a square footage requirement, a
Right.
maximum that is tied to that.
Maximum per square
Yes,
footage, so they can't-
36 square feet, and they have to be within a distance no greater than 5 feet or
Right.
attached.
They've got to be up against the building. They're not going to be out at the street and things like that. And we talked about two things. We were worried about them being tattered and things like that, and we were worried about them being a distraction. And I laugh at the distraction thing. Monica and I were driving around looking at signs this week, and I forget where we were, Country Club or Kiel or somewhere. And in one section, well, I think it must have been Kiel because it was a pretty good speed limit, 35 or 40 miles an hour. And in one section, maybe 40 feet section or something like that, there were 8 or 9 street signs that we were expected to read and while going 40 miles an hour. I mean, it was absolutely impossible for us to read all the street signs at that particular section. I don't remember where it was or whatever. And we thought about distractions and the street signs. We put up so many street signs in some areas, the street signs themselves become distractions because they're clumped in areas. And so it's hard for us not to be hypocrites when we talk about flag signs and things like that being distractions when we clutter certain areas of the city up with our own governmental signs when not all of them are absolutely necessary. So I think that, again, and I said this 1 meeting or 2 meetings ago, the city is becoming unfriendly to businesses. And we've got to become more business friendly. And if 1 or 2 flag signs of these sale signs becomes a little tattered, we just need to bear with it to be business friendly and let these businesses put these sale signs out. And since they're as popular as they are, and since the businesses, have asked for them and everything else, we need to be pro-business and attract businesses and not push them away. So I think this is a simple solution, this sign ordinance, and I think they've done a good job.
Thank you.
I would think also, it's kind of like with anything. When long goes around, if you have any kind of sign and it's falling apart, it's not looking acceptable, then he goes and he talks to, the business owner that, hey, you need to do something about your banner, your sign, it's fallen on the ground, what have you. I would think that would fall into it. I don't know how you define is it acceptable right now? Is it not acceptable? But James, you had gotten up. Did you have any ideas on that?
I was just wondering, Mayor, if I numbered my pages, on page 12, where it has this under the maintenance of it, there's a maintenance standard. I can't, and yours had page numbers? It's right before you get to 141104. Under item 3, the last one says, all signs and sign support structures shall be kept free of deterioration. It's talking about signs and their structures. So if we need to just add a word in there, because it's talking about deterioration.
Wouldn't that already cover it?
It's comprehensive of that.
That's what I thought when I first read it, but
Yeah,
if we need
I
any
would think
clarity,
it's-
it could go there.
Yeah,
right before
I don't
this
know
page.
do you need more clarity, though? Because, it says that basically they have to be kept up and
Yeah,
can't be
it
tattered,
deals
so.
with loosening, deterioration, breakage, any paint and materials, fading. So it deals with peeling, those sorts of things.
And the fading and the
those-
tatter.
Those maintenance issues. One point back to Mr. Harmon's issue in terms of being business friendly. One of the things that we really haven't talked about a lot is the additional provisions for wall signs in here that are really intended to provide more flexibility for businesses in more ways for them to display signage. That really is, I think, something that is addressing a critical and fundamental need through these regulations to give those businesses more options. That might, in some instances, result in some businesses maybe being less interested in sale signs if they can have some additional signage dealing with walls. I'm not going to say that that's going to be in every single case, but what we really attempted to do with these regulations are right-size them and think about common sense solutions that don't worsen the aesthetic quality of the community, but do provide freedom for businesses. And that was really a critical part of the way we were approaching this.
I like the way you put that. Don't lessen the aesthetic quality. I think, being business friendly and being business passive are two completely different things. And I appreciate that word.
I think the other thing too that they had found is that where we look business unfriendly is the fact that the other one was very difficult to understand. And I think this helps to clarify, and certainly it helps businesses know exactly what they can, and it simplifies it. You've got your pictures and so forth so that they know, okay, I'm doing this correctly or I'm not.
So does the council think that if you're a 24-hour business, should you be able to leave your sign out 24 hours if other businesses cannot? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? If you're a
I
gas
think if you're,
station,
I
or
mean, if you're open, you're open. I mean, it's,
just leave it where everybody can.
Yeah,
At
I
least
just,
you might know which gas stations are open because their signs are still up, their lights are on, versus pulling in someplace that's closed.
I like the hours of operation, but I also like the maintenance. I mean, that has to be put in there with that as well, and that seems to be included, so. I mean, the longer a sign is out, I mean, the more, or the quicker it's gonna become deteriorated, so, I mean, it would need more attention.
and I do like the part about the office buildings for the office hours for the storage facilities.
Yes.
Because, if they are open if the storage facility itself, you can get in and out of it 24 hours a day, but if the office hours are 8 to 5, well, then the flag, or the banner, shall I say, can only be there while the office hours are
So that brings up another question, because some of the storage facilities are unmanned. I
Then they
mean,
can't.
there's nobody there, so what are your office hours if they're just a 24-hour facility?
Most of them at least have office hours, do they not?
Yeah, you pay the kiosk or whatever, and there's nobody there.
Or sometimes their office is remote. They might have an office at another business.
Then I would say they can't put them up.
Can you think of a place here in Sherwood that doesn't? I can't think of one.
I can't think of.
I think all
Yeah,
Sherwood.
I know what you mean, though.
Those,
So I think about what are the hours I can reach somebody and say, hey, I wanna rent a building from you or a space or whatever. I mean, what are those hours? That's what I think about, and if that needs to be better defined, then maybe we need to look at that, whether it's remote or whether it's, on site.
But does it matter to you if you can call them and talk to them, but maybe they're physically sitting at an office that's 3 blocks or a mile down the road?
Or in
Because a
Topeka.
lot of businesses, a business owner will own a business and then they'll own a storage business, and they'll have their personnel working and answering the phone and
You need to be on
doing the
site.
accounting. So you could call and talk to a human.
I think that storage building owners, they need to have someone on site anyway, because there's a lot goes on in those places. I think they should have especially the larger facilities, they need to have someone on site. Most of them, I think, do. So that's why I'm asking, do you know one, Shelby, that does
Yeah, I
it?
don't know, I can't remember the name of it. It's the one on Keel, behind Dollar General.
Used to be USA Storage.
It used to be USA Storage. I forgot the name of that chain. That's that's their business model. They'll come in and buy a facility. They'll put a bunch of cameras up and put a kiosk in.
Well, maybe they don't need to
It's their
use a
business model.
feather flag then, or a cell flag.
Yeah.
All right, yeah,
Just
maybe
addressing it. We
they
say
have to
Yeah.
have, maybe we should change it for a storage facility. They have to have if a storage facility wants to have a flag or banner, they have to have an office on site.
Or an unmanned storage facility.
James, did y'all have an
Let's change
idea
it
come to
between
y'all
8 to
over there?
We just need to define the word office hours.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
To quote my mentor, Jim Von Tunglin,
Yes, your mentor, he's gonna say we're faking, we're putting too much into this, aren't we?
he's,
I know what he's, I know.
I
what
can
he's
hear
saying.
him say it
I
now.
can hear him
You're
saying
getting
this
into
right
same
now.
territory.
I know what he's
Yeah.
saying.
yeah.
I know what he's
I
saying.
think if it legitimately is a huge issue that we face over and over again,
Come back and amend it.
we can.
But I've already had a question from a storage unit
Oh.
owner, so
Oh, I can
it's
hear it.
coming. I'm just telling you, it's coming.
hear
'cause
it.
I've already,
Well,
I've been,
to me, if
can hear
they're,
you. I can
I mean,
hear
they're
you.
storage unit owners and then they're storage unit owners, but I would say, it's the same thing. You've got some gas stations that they're just open where you can get gas, but there's not actually anybody there,
There's one of those I do know of.
Yep, so, I mean, then they don't get one. They can use
I-
other signage.
I hear what you're saying, Ms. Broderick.
I just feel like they've invested to be in Sherwood, so if we're gonna allow someone else, and whether that's limited from 8 to 5 or whatever, but if they have an office and they pay someone to answer that phone, we're gonna let business A and business B, you gotta let business C, is my opinion. I mean,
I hear you.
they're investing in a brick and mortar place.
I would propose we pass the ordinance and then in 6 months, if we need to edit,
Yeah.
we can come back with a quick edit.
I
Put it
agree
out there and see what
because
Then we'll see what the problems are that
I
exist.
totally agree, because
Put
we
it
do
out-
not need to kick this can down the
Yeah,
road
put it
any
out there and see
further.
what
Thank you.
happens. I agree.
Okay.
I agree,
Is that
yeah.
a
So do we have a motion from somebody?
I move we suspend the rules and
Place
place
it
it
on
on
second
second
reading.
reading, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lily.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
An ordinance amending the existing zoning code in respect to Chapter 14.11 point signs, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. That's the second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on third and final reading?
Second?
We have a motion from Councilmember Harmon and a second from Councilmember Brooks to suspend the rules and put it on third reading. Roll call.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lily.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
An ordinance amending the existing zoning code in respect to Chapter 14.11 point signs, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes.
Move for the adoption?
Second?
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Brooks.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lily.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
We don't have anything under permits and planning, so we'll move on to Street Committee. Councilmember Lilly.
Street Committee did not meet. There was no new business to attend to, so we are planning to meet next month, same time.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 7, an ordinance amending existing regulations regarding fireworks within the city of Sherwood, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This was read once at the March meeting. Councilmember Williams?
Only asking that people who have comments, send it to Mr. Cobb, and we will get together to look at it. Because I've gotten 4 or 5 comments from individuals, any people in the community, or council members that have comments. We've got some recommendations for some tweaks and edits, and I would defer to the chief to see if he has anything he wants to add. I didn't want to keep.
Chief does not.
But the purpose was to have this for 3 months for people to think and have comments. So if you'll get those in to Mr. Cobb within the next 2 weeks, he would appreciate it. Did you say that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So that was the second reading. Moving on to item number 8, an ordinance approving the use of eminent domain for acquisition of needed property for the Jacksonville-Cato Road Improvement Project and for other purposes. City Attorney Cobb?
We are encountering some title issues with some of this property out there on Jacksonville-Cato that is going to be extremely labor-intensive and time-consuming, mostly with some estates and some probate matters that have not yet been concluded. We have outside counsel that are assisting us with this project, and we met and talked about this and decided that it would be prudent to ask the council to go ahead and give its approval now, with the understanding that we're going to continue negotiations as best we can for as long as we can, but in the event that the project requires us moving forward, that we have this ability in place at this time.
Did we not previously approve an eminent domain?
There's language in the ordinance that approves acquisition of property right-of-way, but we think this will clarify that even further and make it better and safer for the city.
And when we talked earlier today, did you say that reading this once tonight was acceptable?
Yeah, I'm good with that, and I think you had suggested that we
to-
have a list of what subject properties might be.
Yes.
Yeah, I was disturbed by the fact it didn't have the subject properties attached to the ordinance, and
I
by
agree
next month, he said he could have a list of the
I can do
subject
that.
properties attached.
I mean, I got the list, but that.
And just
I
so
think
you guys know how this works, because I didn't know the process. So, for example, property Q, we can't figure out who owns the property because of, probates or problems or what have you. Then basically, you go through the appraisal process, you file it with the court, the money gets set aside with the court holds it until everything can be resolved, and they would figure out who does the money go
Well,
to or
but
not. If
there's
it's
one
in-
important step, though,
Yeah,
that
go right
the city
ahead.
goes ahead and has a right-of-way
Yes.
acquisition at that point, and then we can determine
Right.
who's entitled to the funds at a hearing or trial or a settlement after the fact, but it doesn't doesn't put the project on hold. So if it's okay with the council, we'll just read one time tonight, we'll come back next month with an attachment that'll have the specific subject properties. And even at that juncture, that's not to say that all of those are going to be subject to eminent domain, they just might be.
They're in the path.
I'm sorry?
They're in the path.
Well, we only, right now, have one that we would
Okay.
consider to be in
We just wanted
the path.
to
But
be upfront about it.
When we do an eminent domain, do we not set a, I don't want to send it, I'm not comfortable with blank checks, so do we do a thing that says up to a certain amount at that point in time?
We are required by law to provide the property owner with just compensation.
Okay.
And we obtain appraisals from experts as to what that just compensation is, with the understanding that they'll go with us to court to defend that value.
Okay.
Ultimately, a jury might come back differently to some extent, one way or the other, but that's how the process works.
Okay.
And just so you all know, we do everything we can to avoid that ever occurring. So it's not something that's taken lightly. It's just,
Yeah, and, Mr. Cobb, I'd also like to understand, what the timing would look like on that as to, hey, at what point do we get to, all right, we've got to move forward with the eminent domain proceedings as opposed to continuing negotiations? I mean, is that 6 months? Is it 3 months? Is it, so, just a better understanding of what that looks like as well.
Good idea.
Kevin, the best answer I can give you to that is going to depend on construction and design and where we are in that process. And if we reach a point where the acquisition of that property, the fact that we have not concluded the acquisition of that property is going to retard the process of the project moving forward, that would be the deadline at that juncture that we would need to move to eminent domain. Now, in terms
Sure,
of-
no, I get it, I'm just saying, hey, while we're,
Yes.
30 days looking to, provide information on, lots and whatever, if information comes available that says, hey, you know, here's our deadline date where we've either got to have an agreement or we move forward. I would like to have that information as well.
We're already months into the process, just so you know that. It's not like a,
So if we know we're already there, then let's just say it and let's move forward. I mean, I get that there may not be a this precise date, but as we're planning things, which we should be, we ought to know, you know, hey, come this point, I need to have an answer one way or another from a property owner in the state, you know, whatever the case may be.
okay.
Okay, moving on.
Yep, and we should have more definitive, these are the properties we have left by the next month. But like I said, there's one in particular that's, we know it's going to be very difficult. All right, next up, item number 9, we've got a resolution of the Sherwood City Council approving the proposal of Waste Management of Arkansas, Inc., to agree to a third amendment to the existing contract for residential recycling, curbside pickup service, and for other purposes.
I have a friendly amendment.
Okay,
The word Sherwood is missing from the first whereas. It says the cities of Little Rock, North Little Rock, and entered, and I think Sherwood is supposed to be after that first and. I didn't notice it till just now. I apologize. I would have given it to Steve earlier today when we were talking.
Is this the one that's in the packet, or we've got two?
This is the
no,
ordinance.
that's,
That's a resolution.
this is the
Okay.
resolution.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion for a friendly amendment by Councilmember Harmon to add Sherwood after the and in the first whereas. Do we have a second?
So second, I'll second.
And seconded by Councilmember Williams. Roll call.
Broderick.
But before you have a roll call, was there anybody here from Waste Management that was going to talk?
There will be. This
This
is
is
just
the
on the
amendment.
friendly amendment.
Okay.
Councilmember Wade.
Okay, just trying to see where we're at.
Okay.
Broderick. Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams. Thomas.
All right. Waste Management, if you all would like to please come up and.
Oh, and Sherwood, okay. Thank you.
And I will read the resolution as amended. We've got a resolution of Sherwood City Council approving the proposal of Waste Management of Arkansas, Inc. to agree to a third amendment to the existing contract for residential recycling curbside pickup services as amended and for other purposes. Floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Jamie Vernon with Waste Management. Thank you for having us. We'd like to extend our single-stream recycle contract for 3 years. And it'll move forward from May 1st to March 31st, 2027. I've got a short proposal, or short presentation, or I can answer questions. I sent the presentation, I think, out to the city on Friday, so I hope you have it. Do you have any questions for us?
Councilmember Wade, did you have any?
Well, I mean, my question is, and this comes from quite a few of people I've talked to, including myself, is the frustration with the scheduling and, you know, people want to get what they pay for, and frankly, I don't see where we're getting that necessarily.
So, I guess the question is
Some days, some weeks are skipped altogether for certain communities. Sometimes they don't come on, where I particularly live, it's on Friday.
right.
We don't know if you're coming on Saturday or Monday, and a lot of good neighbors pull their stuff back up because they want to leave it out on the road. I mean, I don't know if it's a communication problem or what it is, but it doesn't seem like we're getting what we should be getting out of it.
Sure. I think that's similar to a question I had in North Little Rock 2 weeks ago. As far as the communication piece, I can't speak specifically to the hauling issue, but one thing I think we can do is when we communicate issues, as opposed to maybe just communicate it directly with your sanitation department, maybe we set up an email to where it goes to council persons as well. And so instead of having sort of a roadblock there in the communication or communicated with you directly. I think that's something that'll help, specifically when we have an issue that kicks it over from a Friday to a Saturday. And I can set that up through the mayor's office or sanitation, and we can put that email chain together,
I
help
think
communicate
that
more effectively.
That obviously is a beneficial piece to it, but what we run into, we can't get the word out quick enough to the
Sure,
citizens.
sure.
It just seems like it happens pretty regularly.
Okay.
Maybe it's just my ward, I don't know about that.
Well, I'll be happy to look into those specific, like the streets, if we can address, maybe if it's streets, maybe we have a driver that's not covering those routes. It's hard to address sort of broadly right now, but I think we have done better lately. From what I can see, I haven't had many phone calls in the last 60, 90 days that I'm aware of.
Our own sanitation department, if there's going to be a deviation from regular pickup days, all they have to do to notify us is they drop some temporary signs on some major street corners, most traveled street corners in the areas, like in his area, the area where the pickups are on a Friday, and that's sufficient to know. That's sufficient, has been up to now, Brian, I think, hasn't it, to notify people of the change in the pickup day. And so if we knew ahead of time so that somebody could do the same thing for them.
Well, I guess the street corner signs would work, but I know that as far as I know, I can't think of a time where we haven't communicated on Facebook when there was gonna be a delay in service, or, you know, if it was gonna push to a Saturday schedule. I know there was a little confusion this past deal with the eclipse, but nobody really knew,
No,
you know, what was gonna happen,
I've
but for the
seen
most
those
part.
communications and stuff. I think there's things happening that doesn't get communicated to you at your level.
Right.
Because it's not just once and every now and then. It's pretty routine.
And I know when we have something come into Public Works, you know, we communicate it to the supervisors, and typically it's taken care of. I would urge any resident to go through us, not deal with Waste Management directly. That gives us a paper trail, you know, something that we can follow up on, you know, if it doesn't happen.
Seems like it's gotten worse over the last 8 to 12 months, something like that. Before that, it wasn't quite as bad, but I have noticed, I'm like, and is anybody else having this problem? Okay. Seems like it's out in our ward more than it is anywhere else. I've not heard anybody else complain about it, but it has been. And like you said, we've talked about this before about, you know, like, I didn't, last week, when I put mine out, they didn't come till Monday. It may have had something to do with the eclipse, I don't know, but, no, it wouldn't have been. That was the week before then, yeah.
Right.
So-
That was all to do with the eclipse. I know they, you know, ran to
Right.
not quite noon and shut down, but it ended up putting them a day behind pretty much all week.
There are a few occasions throughout the year that the city's pickup schedule and Waste Management's pickup schedule are not in sync with each other. You know, with a little bit of research, you can figure out what those are, and that's, you know, takes a little bit of time. But those could be a little better publicized, but I'm not really seeing an issue or having complaints about just not showing up to pick up the recycling, not in general, so.
And I think that's what he's speaking directly to, missed pickups and.
Missed pickups, or, like I said, 2 or 3 days later.
Right.
So.
People have then brought theirs back in, but they figure it's not.
Sometimes there's problems with what's in this recycling can, like if there's stuff that's on top that's not, then they will not.
So
pick
when
it
you
up.
guys run into that, I mean, is there any kind of information left for that particular person that says, you know, your you know, Waste Management container has, you know, whatever in it that we won't pick up, or do y'all just leave it there and move on?
The drivers have a note that they leave that the item was the cart was contaminated, and sometimes they have a little thing they can check off that sometimes, majority of the time, I'd say they don't stop to actually check the box, but they do leave the contamination.
I've got a collection of them, I'll show you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Well,
I've got a collection.
most of the time, it's a cart, they have to see it, it's a cart lid that's left a little bit open for them to actually see it. They can see it after the fact, through our system that's on the truck, but they have to, the lid's gotta be open. So we do miss a lot of the contaminated carts.
Gotcha.
I would say, you made a comment a while ago about, staff could be an issue that maybe you need to know, and I think it appears that the complaints are coming from Ward 4 predominantly. But, it seems like some of the hours have changed. I love recycling and I love waste management, but the piece is that they were almost coming to the house maybe like 6:30, so we had to put ours out the night before. But now it's like, they're coming at 9. So they've changed like a 3-hour window of when they were coming. So don't know if that's part of the problem, or we used to kind of know.
Sure, and I do want to clarify something. I didn't mean Brian's staff was getting hung up. You have an exceptional guy in Brian Galloway. So I did not mean to insinuate that he was not communicating well with the city. Brian and I communicate very well, and I'm really appreciative of Brian Galloway. So I want to kind of clarify that point. Specifically that North Little Rock instance, the sort of email tree where we get it out to everybody at once. That way Brian doesn't have to do his thing and then it gets delayed to later in the day. And just to kind of keep an open line of emails, that way it doesn't get bogged down. That's really what I meant there. But one of the things we always try to remind folks is it is a recycle day. I know folks get used to that regular time, but there may be a new driver, guy may be on vacation, and we have an alternate in, and they just run it slower, or maybe they run it faster. And so that's why we try to remind folks that it is recycle day. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I do know that when Heather gets the emails, she pumps them out, like right away, if there's any changes and so forth. But not everyone's on social media, so.
And that is one thing we need to remember. Not everybody is on social media. So Facebook is not the total answer.
Not to be all and all.
I did have a couple things I wanted to touch on, though. One of the things that we're adding in this, I'll say, contract cycle are the PET clamshell containers. So PET, number one, is a plastic bottle, and everybody's used to that. But one of the things that we haven't considered as a recyclable item is a PET container. And I know you've probably seen these if you have kids or just like berries. It's these. You'll get them in takeout boxes. These are strawberries and blueberries. And so that's an item that we're adding to our list. We've got a great market for it right now. Rusty Miller, Rusty operates our MRF. Rusty's a Sherwood, he's a Sherwood resident, and I don't know what we'd do without Rusty, and he's found us a market for these. So we're real appreciative of him.
Yeah, I didn't know you didn't take those. That's probably why I got my stickers. That's why I got all those stickers piled up.
That's what I was telling Marina. I was like,
Well,
man, we put that in there all the
Rusty
time.
has told us for years no, so blame Rusty.
Yeah.
Another item that is recyclable that a lot of folks ask about are the carton aseptic containers. Vegetable broth, half and half is another big one that comes out of our house. These are recyclable. They're not new, just people kind of forget or they didn't know. And so, yeah, these are recyclable.
I thought it was wax and had to go in the trash.
I'm sorry?
It's kind of got a waxy coat on them. I thought those had to go in the trash.
They are, in fact.
He's one.
I know, I'm sending this to you.
Got my little two sticks.
An item that we're clarifying in our list this year are number 7s. If you go online and do a search, number 7s kind of comes up as other. One of the items that we can take, and we clarified it by addressing it as plastic containers number 7, portable, reusable beverage liquid bottles, empty. So thermoplastics, I think I have the soccer ball, baseball, and football all in my home right now. But a lot of protein shakes come as number 7s. A lot of number 7s out there that you probably won't realize that are recyclable. So we can take these.
They all have little triangles on the bottom.
They do. And it shows a number 7. So as far as the plastics go, on the triangles, we can do 1, 2, 3, 5, 7/7. Is that right, Rusty? Another thing at the MRF that we're doing is we're upgrading our glass system. We'll no longer hand sort our glass. Right now, all the glass is picked off the line by hand. It's not the safest thing, so we're gonna automate that, and we'll have an automated system in place, 1st of July, 1st of August, as soon as we can get that equipment delivered. And it's a very clean glass. It's not, this is a kitchen glass. Kitchen glass is not recyclable, but the glass in the container is all recyclable glass. It's extremely clean. I'll walk around here shortly and show you all the glass in the container. It's how we currently collect it. We have MRFs across the country that do it this way, and so we're real excited about it. And all of the glass that we collect here moving forward will stay local for a local glass processor, as long as they can accept it.
And that's going to be used on roadways, correct?
Mm-hmm. And other types of, I guess, uses where they would normally use gravel, they'll be able to use the material that they make out of glass.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
It's been read. Do we have a motion? What's the pleasure of the council?
Move for the adoption of the resolution.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon to accept it and a second by Councilmember Thomas. Roll call.
Broderick.
Abstain.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams. Thomas.
Aye.
The motion passes 6 yes and 1 abstain.
Wouldn't it be 7?
7, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 7.
7 and 1. All right. And so now we're going to go to item number 10. This is the one we suspended the rules on. Yes. It should have a little star on it and a B. An ordinance amending and adjusting the fee for residential garbage and recycling, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes. So the way that this, and Brian, if you want to come forward, has always been done in Sherwood is it's just a complete pass-through. So the city doesn't subsidize it, and it doesn't add anything to it, so. And the reason why this is important is because the increase wasn't budgeted for, and so it would come out of Brian's budget. That's the reason for the emergency.
That's correct. Typically, in the past, we've done these year to year, but this time we just decided to group them all together where we don't have to come back next year and pass next year's increase over and the next year. We can give this ordinance to Central Arkansas Water. They can go and prepare for it. It'll eliminate, every now and then, we end up with about a 30-day lag in getting the billing. So we could end up paying the charge to Waste Management and not receiving the money for a month, because it takes about 30 days to get it on their books.
That was the first reading.
Move we suspend the rules, place on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams. Thomas.
Aye.
An ordinance amending and adjusting the fee for residential garbage and recycling, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. It's the second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place on third reading?
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and put it on third reading by Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call.
Broderick.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade. Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams. Thomas.
Aye.
An ordinance amending and adjusting the fee for residential garbage and recycling, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. Third reading.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
We have a motion for the adoption by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call.
Broderick.
Abstain.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
The motion passes 7 yes and 1 abstained, and now we have an emergency clause. Broderick.
Abstain.
Harmon.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Motion passes 7 yes and 1 abstain.
All right, old business. Okay, moving on to new business. Sherwood's Finance Department document destruction is Thursday, May 9th at 8 a.m. at the City Hall parking lot. And did we have a council member who signed up for that? Did anybody sign up for the destruction? Document destruction? No? Any volunteers?
I can't do it that day.
The 9th? I've already
Yes.
got 8:30 meeting.
Okay,
I can do it.
all right. Councilmember Thomas will be your observer. Thank you. All right, moving on, we have announcements, and there are a lot of them, so. Happy 76th birthday, Sherwood. Today is your birthday. April 22nd through the 25th, we have group swim lessons from ages 4 to 12 at the Harmon Recreation Center. April 24th, we have a pickleball tournament at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. On April 26th, we have basketball skill show at the Harmon Center from 1 to 3 p.m. On April 26th, we've got Stories with the Mayor at the Duran Youth Center from 6 to 8 p.m. April 26th, we've also got lifeguard training at the Jacksonville Community Center. Please call 501-835-6893 for more information on that. April 27th, Getting Real with First Responders Kids Fishing Derby. This will be at the City Hall Park, and it'll be from noon to 4 p.m. This is always a fun event. It'll have the fire department, MEMS, and police, and they're always in competition. So, April 27th, we have Sherwood Police Department Drug Take Back. It'll be at St. Vincent's Hospital and Walmart Neighborhood Market parking lot from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. April 27th and 28th, we've got the Sherwood Sharks tryouts at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to noon on the 27th and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the 28th. May 3rd, summer pool passes available at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center, only $25 per person, cash or checks only. May 7th, please mark your calendars for the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast at Sherwood Forest. Breakfast begins at 6:30 a.m. And the program begins at 7 a.m. Tickets are $10 a person. You can still sponsor a table. May 16th, we've got the third Thursday in the Park free concert series featuring 80s Night with Cliff and Susan at the City Hall Park from 6 to 8 p.m. May 25th, all the Sherwood outdoor pools are open. And please mark your calendars. Remember, May 20th is the City Council meeting. Are there any announcements that I'm missing? That was a lot. Okay. There being none, we can allow public comment at this time, and we do have one person who has signed up. Is that Vicki Lawrence? Vicki Lawrence, if you'll please come up and please state your address, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council. Thank you.
My name is Vicki Lawrence. I live at 3100 Hickory Ridge Drive.
If you'll speak into the microphone, sweetie.
Okay, and I am here because I have an issue that I have tried to resolve, first with Miss Virginia, the mayor, and then I believe I came to see this mayor, and What it is, I have a huge ditch the length of my backyard, and I was told after talking with several of the neighbors that that was to be a thoroughfare, a street from our Hickory Ridge Drive to Maryland, the next street over, which made sense because there used to be a vacant lot there. And you can see where maybe cemented, the big circular cement tube was maybe abandoned. And so, so when I found that out, I thought, well, maybe I'll go to city planning and see if I can get some assistance, because the little brook that they're concerned about runs, it's an easement on my property. So I thought, well, maybe I could get some help. So I went to city planning, and they said, no, ma'am, it's on your property, it's your problem. So I said, okay, I'll just do it one summer at a time. Okay, so Mr. Sean Odell, a builder, he bought the lot next to my house and to build a house. And so I spoke with him and asked if he could fill for me. And he and I came to an agreement to do a partial agreement at $1,000. And so he did partial, he filled in part of it. Okay, so the next summer, which was this past summer, I hired a guy to come in, and we were going to move the rocks and tear it. I wanted to tear it off because at first I was just concerned about the landscaping. It's ugly. Okay, but now I have a beautiful 3-year-old granddaughter, and she got away from me about a month ago, and I thought my baby.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
Okay, I thought my baby girl had got back there, and so I realized that this is not just landscaping, it's safety. It's safety now. And so now I really have tried to, I filed a small claims court issue, but I got it back that no, it was dismissed. But my concern is if the city of Sherwood is not going to help me, and it's my property, and the brook is an easement, and they're so concerned that I'm going to clog the brook, and I was told I couldn't do anything. I couldn't put any fill back there. So it's my property. I'm not allowed, the city won't allow me to come in and make it safe. Okay, so what do I do?
Okay, ma'am, your time has expired.
What do I do?
Thank you. All right, we're not allowed to converse back. We can talk after the meeting. All right, is there a motion for
So moved.
adjournment? Do we have a second?
We haven't been here long enough.
Okay, so we have a
You
motion.
can stay.
Second, there you go.